Rob Thompson, Carl Schoening. Halftime.
Halftime is live, loud and local here on San Antonio Sports Star, ESPN AM 1250, 94.5 FM. If you're tuned into our frequency, James Pledger back there, giving the good education to young Edwin, who's running the board today. Rob Thompson right across from me. I'm Carl Schoening.
I'm also getting a fine education from Edwin. He's teaching me.
Oh, we'll have to all learn what Edwin can teach us here. As you can also join us live on Facebook Live, YouTube, or sasportstar.com.
You know,
we got a fun day. Oh, what do I know?
No, nothing. I was saying you can reach out if you're on our sasportstar.com, wherever you want to watch. There's ways you can talk to us. You can go to our Facebook feed. You can talk right there. You can go to our YouTube feed. You can talk right there. You want to talk to Carl directly, you can go through the socials at Carl ESPN. I'm at Rob Thompson ESPN. James Pledger is I am Pledger. Edwin is not a social type. He is in the witness protection program, and we're not allowed to disclose his last name. But I hear tell that he has done some interesting things.
And he's able to keep everything on the DL despite being on a media outlet. Nice.
Well, you notice that he avoids the camera. He never looks directly in the camera.
Yeah,
he just doesn't. Right. Now you're giving it up, man. They're coming for you now. We're gonna have to protect him.
Yeah, luckily we have stellar security here at Alpha Media. So, big news today, probably biggest news today. Dak is back. Bryn Forbes is officially back. We knew that according to the tweets that came out that Bryn Forbes was eventually going to come back. Cristiano Ronaldo on the move. Not 100% official, but about as official as it gets in the transfer. As they talk about it in the European circles, it's in the know. People claim to be in the know. Whoever's in the know in this one is probably right, as ESPN's even picked up on it.
The amount of money that's about to change hands
Eesh.
between two esteemed soccer franchises. What do you figure the transfer fee is for Ronaldo? $250 million? I mean, what exactly are you going to have to pay just for the right to go pay him now?
Barcelona was asking for somewhere around, I think, $700 million just to negotiate with Lionel Messi.
That's monopoly. I know when we talk American sports and we're talking $30 million a year, $40 million a year, we go, oh my gosh. You got to keep in mind in Europe, they're paying $250 million to nearly $1 billion, $100 million, or $1 billion just for the right to talk and sign them.
And then they gotta sign them on top of that. Somebody like Ronaldo's got to be in the maybe near $70 million a year range, somewhere around that, if not more.
Yeah, we think we're leading the world in entertainment sports. Not even close, man. We're not even in the same ballpark. There are franchises not even worth what they're being paid just to talk to Ronaldo. $700 million. Are you kidding me?
It's crazy.
I'm down, though. Go get paid.
Absolutely. That'll be interesting when we finally get the number. We'll talk about Ronaldo a little later. But the big story here, if you're tuned into San Antonio Sports Star, there's a good chance you might be a Dallas Cowboys fan. And for the first time since January 27th, Dak Prescott was able to go through team drills during a practice, which is a significant step forward as he tries to return from his latissimus strain on his right shoulder. Say that 5 times fast.
It's a latissimus?
Latissimus. And according to this report coming from Todd Archer, Prescott completed 11 of 12 passes in his 18 snaps on 11-on-11 Wednesday, and he showed no rust or limit on his ability to get the ball down the field. And his best friend, Ezekiel Elliott, says Dak looks really good, man. If he's throwing the ball with some pop, he looks good. He looks like he's progressing. And that's good news for the Cowboys fans because without seeing him in preseason, haven't seen him since week 5 of last season, you want to believe in Dak Prescott. He just signed the biggest signing bonus in NFL history, $67 million, if I'm not mistaken, off the top of my head.
Right there, yeah.
It's a big deal that he is in the NFC East, the actually only stable quarterback. If everybody's healthy in the NFC East, he's the only one that the NFC East can actually feel comfortable if you are a fan of any team in the NFC East, it feels best to be a Cowboys fan because you know Dak Prescott is going to be the steady hand that rides the ship. Frank, always keeping us up to date on soccer news. Appreciate him joining us on Facebook Live. Says Juventus is asking for $28 to $30 million transfer fee for Ronaldo. Well, that's not too bad. I feel like Man City, the team he'll be going to, has that in their couch cushion somewhere.
The idea of the transfer fee I find very interesting.
No free agency in the soccer world.
I find that very interesting, and I'm not sure if I'm opposed to it or not, because I really don't know the workings, because I firmly believe that players should have the right to go and play where they want. When your contract's expired, you should never be limited and held because if you don't want to be there. That's that indentured servitude that we saw in America up until Curt Flood in baseball started the idea of I am a free laborer, and I should be able to go labor wherever I choose and should not be held forever by a franchise. I like the free agency, but I do like the idea of a team. You know, if you want him, you can pay for him. You can come get him. There's worth the value there if you want to just talk to him. I think it restricts player movement, but I also think it improves the continuity of a team. It might be a good happy medium, but we're not making enough money over here to do that.
Is anybody being franchise tagged on Dallas right now? They all agreed to their contracts. No need to franchise tag anybody, but there is something similar where teams will not lose a certain player in the NFL because they can franchise them. Adam, thank you for listening in from work at Southwest Research Institute. What's up, man? Hey, appreciate you tuning in on Facebook Live.
But in that method, I think franchise tag's a cop-out. You know, I think the owners built that in to protect themselves so they don't have to make a decision. We already know what we're going to pay you, and we know that it escalates every year. We followed the Dak Prescott movement from X to Y to Z to contract. I think that I don't like the franchise idea because, again, that restricts player movement. If you want me, negotiate with me and pay me. And if you don't want me, don't go look to other contracts and say, I get you for another year and I'm going to pay you the average of this. And next year it'll go up. But even then I might not negotiate with you. I don't like that.
It sucks for the players for sure. In a way, it's harmful to the offseason media attention that the NFL could receive because somebody like Le'Veon Bell could have been a free agent at the peak of his career, gotten some kind of crazy contract maybe, and they franchise tag him because he wants too much money and he wanted to try his luck in free agency to see what he's really worth, what he could maybe get on an open market. And the Steelers say, no, we're going to keep you around and you're going to either negotiate with us or you're going to take the franchise tag is supposed to be for franchise players. They go by position and they say it'll be the average of the top 5 salaries at your position.
And it escalates. I mean, it's not a terrible deal for the player because it's built-in protection. You're going to get paid. But at the same time, you operate under that, well, like Dak did. He broke his leg after the contract. But when you get franchised, that's just a 1-year deal. There's not a lot of protection there. So they franchise you. You go to play and you break your leg in game 2. Suddenly, because of that franchise thing, it has limited your ability to go make money. And it might have ended your ability to stay in the league because you don't have that long-term deal.
And the NFL is such a 100% injury rate league that I don't think you'll ever see the guaranteed money shift away too much. The only way you're going to get the full value of your contract is if you live up to being that level of a player throughout your entire contract. It would be fun, though, to see what happens if these franchise tag players could just go out into an open market and say, I'm going to test my value. And if the Philadelphia Eagles, that's everybody's worst nightmare, a crosstown rival, wants to pay Saquon Barkley a lot of money when he eventually hits free agency, then that would be great for the league. That would be better for the league. It's not so good for the owners and the teams that want to keep their best player.
No, at the end of the day, I don't care about the owners and the players and the teams. I know they got money. I know with every passing second, the value of their franchise is going up. With every second, it's going up. So I never will listen to pleading of poverty. I won't pay any attention to that. I don't think anybody else should. I do like the idea of, let's get into it. Let's move along. I've noticed the clock's kind of moving past. We got some more stuff to talk about.
Well, I do want to talk about Bryn Forbes
Yes.
coming back because that's San Antonio related. If you're listening on our frequencies, you're in San Antonio, and officially signing Bryn Forbes, the San Antonio Spurs bring in one of the best snipers in the league. He comes back because he loves San Antonio that much. Reports are he could have gotten better deals elsewhere, but he is a San Antonio is my second home kind of person. Spurs took a chance on him, undrafted out of the Michigan State Spartans program. Tom Izzo loved him. And he goes away for 1 year and shoots 45% from three with the eventual champions, Milwaukee Bucks. Was he an integral part to that championship team? Not really. Is he somebody who can play point guard? He's had to do that a little bit, despite his 6'3" size. He's more of a two guard, just a floor spacer. He's a chess piece, as I like to say. If you need shooting on your roster, Bryn Forbes is one of the best guys you can get. He's up there with a Joe Ingles and a Joe Harris as somebody that the defense needs to be respectful of.
You know, I like that term respectful. You do have to respect it. The combination of pure jump shot and defense is just about as hard to find as the 7-foot unicorn. To find a guy that can shoot at 40% and defend on the perimeter so you don't have any fear of him being out there, that it might be even harder to find. And I love Bryn Forbes. We need a sniper. We need a guy like him. But we know who Bryn Forbes is. And we know that there is a deficiency in his game. There's a reason why a guy who shoots that well is not playing more minutes. So I understand where we're going. We got us a sniper, but I also go that when Bryn Forbes is in, there is a hole on my perimeter defense. That as much as he has tried, he has not improved to the extent that I feel comfortable with him, man on man, with anybody. So we got the guy that we needed, and I'm happy that we bring Bryn Forbes back. You're a Spur, man. I hope you stay here forever. But when you bring him in, suddenly you need to think, whenever he's out there, I need to have another defender there, and I need to make sure I have a stout and ready rim defender. And we don't have that yet. Yeah, maybe we do. Maybe we do. And I'd like to see Jock, and I want to see if Zach Collins is fully healed and can do a little bit of that. And I know Jakob Poeltl blocks more shots than you think he will. He protects the rim far better than you think he does by the numbers. In fact, he's in the upper third of post defenders. He's really good, but he's got a low ceiling, and he's not going to scare anybody down there. So I know what we get with Bryn, and maybe the changing of the number. You know, he got a title. He's going to keep 7. He wore 7 up there, right, in Milwaukee. Yep. Gave up 11 to young Primo. Or I guess he wasn't a Spur when Primo got the number. So he's going to sign 7. Maybe 7 means he plays defense. 7 or 11, craps out either way. But, you know, there you go.
So James says championship experience after losing Patty. And that's true. He is the only player on the roster with a championship ring. B says halftime. Good afternoon. Thank you for watching B on YouTube. And I do get what you're saying in terms of Bryn is not somebody who you expect to be an above average defender. He's out there to shoot. And a lot of times, you know, you look at Joe Harris, who is the sniper, and Patty Mills, who now was also on the Brooklyn Nets. Not exactly defensive stoppers either. No. Those guys are out there to fill it up from 3. It's Moneyball.
And, you know, given the modern basketball, I grew up in a time where defense was really more important than the offense. And as far as watching the NBA, think back to the 90s. It was a high-scoring game if you had 110. I mean, that was, wow, offense, you must have got into overtime. So I still lean toward that, but the league doesn't want that. The league's not into defense. They don't care. They're legislating away defense. They want 125 a night. So I still look at defense, and I do think that you have to have great defenders on your team, but you don't have to be a great defensive team, if that makes any sense.
Look at what the Chicago Bulls did in their free agency. Patrick Williams is going to be the best and maybe only real plus defender on that squad. Lonzo Ball's not bad. He's a solid defender too. But that's going to be a team that puts up 120 a night and might give up 121 a night. So you got to see what they end up doing. I like following at Airless Jordan Howenstein, who is a Spurs PR. I think he's the director of PR now. I don't know his official title with the Spurs, but he's a great follow if you're a Spurs fan because he'll tweet out some fun stats that really dig into the weeds. in his 5 career seasons, Bryn Forbes has made 584 three-pointers, shooting 41% from long range. That is a straight out of college shooter.
That's ridiculous, man. The dude is a sniper. That's ridiculous numbers.
And he's also a G League success story. He played in Austin with DeJounte Murray. They were rookies together. Since Forbes has entered the NBA in 2016, only 10 players in the league have hit more threes while shooting at least 40% from behind the arc. I'm going to guess Steph Curry's one of them. Yeah.
Guarantee it.
And then he has a few other good ones here. Only 3 players made 150-plus three-pointers while shooting over 45% from long range last year. Joe Harris, Joe Ingles, and Bryn. And it's great. It's great that the Spurs are hearing that one of their weaknesses last year was the three-point shot. And they addressed that. And they addressed it with another player in Doug McDermott. We already talked about Doug McDermott because his signing was official. But Tom Petrini actually had a really interesting stat because his offseason is to dig into these kind of stats. And I don't mind piggybacking off of him. He's at Real Tom Petrini. Over half of Doug McDermott's shots last year, inside 10 feet, he shot 66% on. And 43% were from 3, where he shot 39%. 57% of his attempts came with no dribbles, and another 25% after 1 dribble. With 0 dribbles, McDermott shot 79% from 2 and 38% from 3. With 1 dribble, 65% from 2
a lot
and
of numbers.
45% from 3.
That's a lot. What does that tell you?
What that's telling me that he is the perfect Spur. He doesn't need the ball to dribble a lot. He is somebody that is going to come in and fit Pop's system. I know that's a lot of numbers, but that's a lot of efficient numbers that fits the beautiful game, ball movement. Hey, if you have a good look, you're going to look good.
Doug was born for this offense. He was born for this. He's a guy that's going to teach the younger players ball movement away from the ball, how to get yourself open. He's a master at that. And when I look at who the Spurs have and how other guys are going to benefit from him, Josh Primo, follow him around. Young Wieskamp, follow Doug McDermott around. Do what this cat does because he's in the league, not because he's athletic, not because he's bigger and faster than anybody else. He's in the league because he knows how to shoot. More importantly, he knows how to get open to take that shot. And more importantly, I mean, that is the most important ability there. Get yourself open. We know you can shoot. Can you get yourself open? And that's the last step to becoming a solid pro. That's the last thing you get before you become an official NBA type. Have jump shot will travel. And that's McDermott. I'm happy with all of this, but we're looking at the transformation of the Spurs where we always thought, can he defend? I mean, Pop, that's just what we've been taught. Whether it was Timmy defends. Tony Parker, he'll get it. Manu, he gets all the glory for everything else, but he played defense. Now we got defenders, but the team defense might not be so important. And I appreciate the way Pop is also evolving. He's not fitting that narrative that, the game's passed him by. Look at his roster. Look at the guys he brought in. You're going to say the game has passed him by? This roster looks like any modern NBA roster. Lots of shooters spread around. They all look the same, and a couple of bigs. That looks like the modern NBA. And to expect previous NBA with modern players is dumb. Pop has moved on. I think we should eliminate that narrative and say the game hadn't passed him by. He's evolving, but it's going to be a different thing for fans to watch as he evolves because it's not going to be the same Spurs.
One last little note, just to toss a little log on this fire. Bryn Forbes got a photo shoot and some videos released in an interview yesterday. Zach Collins, same thing. Doug McDermott, Josh Primo, etc. Noticeably missing from the list of people who got videos and photos, Thaddeus Young, Al Farouk Aminu, Chandler Hutchinson. Maybe they're waiting until training camp, but it seems that this is the red carpet that the Spurs are rolling out for these guys.
Because they're staying.
There's a Ben Simmons rumor somewhere in this show, as usual, as we're going to have a Woj soundbite a little later. Stay tuned for that. But those guys, they fit in a potential Ben Simmons trade. But I do like the way this roster's come together. Brian Wright, bravo, because he could have done worse. Lauri Markkanen is still a free agent somehow or another, and the Spurs were reportedly interested in him, but he wanted a little too much money. That was another shooter. We'll see how that works out, and we might talk about him for a segment a little later. But I keep an eye on the headlines, the ticker, and we have some good news to get into. I enjoy the headlines that I've put together for Carl's Countdown today. Headline 2, former Fighting Texas Aggie Ryan Tannehill placed in COVID protocol. Titans are placing him in the reserve/COVID-19 list per source, and he will miss anywhere from 5 to 10 days, depending on his status, according to Adam Schefter. The Titans have been dealing with COVID situations since returning from Tampa. Head coach Mike Vrabel, excuse me, I'm going to need the turnover chain on that one, tested positive on Sunday. Of course, Tannehill, I just mentioned, tight end Jeff Schwam, and linebacker Justin March Lillard, thank you, are all on COVID list today. And the team is approximately 97% vaccinated. And before you get into vaccines don't work, the virus can still be detected in your nose and mouth when you do these tests. They're getting tested regularly still, even if they're vaccinated. This is all precaution, limit the spread, and that 5 days could be short if several negative tests are returned for Tannehill. But it sucks that this could be a reality during the regular season. Someone could be out 5 days. This will be much more impactful come week 1.
Positive doesn't mean sick. So we heard from Bruce Arians, the Titans and the Bucks got together, played. Ryan Suckup, his kicker from Tampa Bay, went to dinner with a couple of Titans. He comes back positive. Bruce Arians is shutting it down, man. He is the Bucks are going to be in total quarantine like it was last year. They're going to act like nobody's vaccinated when they hit the road. No families, no friends, business trip kind of stuff. It's not worst case scenario because we're a year into this. But the fear is, as we see the Cowboys popping up like this and you see the Titans popping up like that right before the beginning of the season, we know the progression. We've seen the curve. We know how this expands at a rapid pace. We're only 2 weeks away from the beginning of the NFL season, and we got 2 teams right now in the thick, and you expect more of it to come. Let's hope we can get there, though we have been there before, but this is not – I'm a little concerned, a little worrying.
It's not going to be fun if the players can't play, especially when you're talking quarterbacks. Fun fact about Ryan Tannehill before we move on. I might be mistaken about this. There could be somebody else that I'm missing. If you know, tell me. Only player in NCAA history to receive for 1,000 yards and pass for 1,000 yards in his NCAA career.
Fighting Texas Aggie wide receiver.
And then he became the quarterback the last 2 years, and then everybody kind of forgot about him as quarterback because Johnny Football came along. He didn't beat him out. That's Tannehill graduating and Johnny Football filling in as a redshirt freshman. All right, headline 1. Staying with the fighting Texas Aggies, Logan Paul wants to fight Myles Garrett.
Somebody just kick Logan Paul's ass. I don't care who it is. Kick his ass on the street. Kick it in the ring. Do something to get this guy out.
So what's up with the boxing game right now? Why is it that these internet trolls and social media personalities are dominating the sport more than the best heavyweights in the world?
That's a good question because I read an interview with the guy that's kind of behind this, the promoter that really began this with the Paul brothers, and he says he's saving boxing. That because there isn't a linchpin guy, there's not a heavyweight out there. We don't really have Canelo's still around, but it doesn't seem like he was. Pacquiao's on his way down. Floyd is still Floyd, and he still will sell some tickets, but he has gotten into the fake boxing game. Growing up, you always hear, if you're watching somebody preaching the word. If I grew up in a Baptist church, and you hear somebody preaching the word, you go, he doesn't have any right to preach. He's a sinner. Well, he's preaching the word, and maybe it helps somebody else. Maybe it'll bring some people into boxing. I make fun of it, and I deride it because it's not boxing to me. I don't care what Logan Paul gets his ass kicked or wins because he's never going to be a champ. He says he is. But if it draws one more eye, if it brings in one more boxing fan who can go from the Logan Paul to then getting involved with Mikey Garcia, some of those great fighters that really nobody talks about, I'm completely for it. It's not ruining the game, but don't pretend that it is helping the game by anything other than maybe bringing in some fresh eyes.
So I want to see this, though, because like you said, somebody needs to knock him out. Max K is already good takes on why Paul bros are making money. The best fighters will not agree to fight him, according to Rudolph Rene. And Kellerman is more in tune to the boxing world than I am, so that's kind of interesting. I would love to see the best fighters actually fight these entertainment boxers. But Myles Garrett actually is trained with an ex-UFC champion, Stipe Miocic. Yeah, that's what I get for reading it. I need to hear it. I have trouble reading names, as y'all might have been able to tell.
No, I want you to keep reading names.
Yeah.
It makes my day.
But yeah, so it's not like Myles Garrett is just going to go from playing defensive end football to, I'm going to get the chain. I know.
No. I was just saying Rob enjoys you reading names
because
it makes him feel better.
So no, I'm in the same boat with you. So I'm with you. I'm not laughing at you. I'm laughing with you because that would have been me as well.
And if you've never seen pictures of Myles Garrett outside of a football uniform, he doesn't need his pads. That man has built-in pads called muscles.
If I'm Myles, don't go fight him. Don't. I know they're going to offer you a lot of money.
I was about to say,
go get paid. But Nate Robinson.
Hey.
Nate thought that this was going to be easy. No, I'm not saying Myles Garrett and Nate Robinson have anything in common other than they were professional athletes that carried a ball or dealt with a ball. That's all they have. But there is that off chance. You hear about the puncher's chance. And Paul is actually better than I thought he was. He does seem to have a little bit.
He is a professional boxer. I'll give him that. And Rudolph Renee also adds on Facebook Live, there are real boxers on the undercard. I don't actually pay that much attention to anything other than maybe the main card. And that's true. I have seen those promotions for the TikTok versus YouTubers, and that might actually draw better and ratings-wise these days.
I don't have, again, you're not a boxing fan by nature. You'll go watch a championship fight.
I enjoy boxing.
Yeah.
I'm not a fan.
But you will go, if it's a championship fight, we're all excited about watching it. But you're not the type that's going to tune in Tuesday night for Showbox. I'm not either for the most part, but I will find it. And if Logan Paul or any other idiot that decides to go be the circus and go get knocked out or whatever, if I can draw you in as a passive fan, if it helps to grow the sport of boxing, I'm for it. But they're not the same things. It's like baby boxing that gets you ready for real boxing when we do this.
That's true. Hopefully it does draw in some fans. And headline 0. San Francisco 49ers Kyle Shanahan is not ready to announce who his week 1 quarterback is, but he has a pretty good idea. See, on the outside looking in, not paying any attention to this except for there's a whole bunch of quarterback battles going on in the NFL, and a lot of them have kind of been decided in the last week or so. Why draft a guy third overall, in Trey Lance if he's not going to be your starter day 1? And Jimmy Garoppolo looks like he's out on a mission. We'll see. But it seems to be Garoppolo's getting the nod so far, as he seemed a little unmoved about the reports that he won't name a starter.
He knows it. The team knows it. You know it. I know it. Jimmy Garoppolo knows it. Porn stars know it. Jimmy Garoppolo is going to be the starting quarterback for the San Francisco 49ers. We've talked about all those other quarterbacks. Trey Lance came out of South Dakota. Hardly even played last year. It's impressive that he is even in the conversation. You're right. He's the third pick, but they have a quarterback on their roster that has already taken them to a Super Bowl. Will Jimmy Garoppolo be the quarterback next year? No. Will he be the quarterback in December? He will be if they've got 9 wins.
So Garoppolo was making $24 million this year, and next year is his final year of his contract where he's making another $24 million. But he signed a 5-year, $137 million contract. I'm actually okay with this because Trey Lance was an FCS quarterback in North Dakota State. The game is significantly a step up from FCS to the NFL. And we got something here. Pledge wants to jump in.
And Trey Lance didn't play last year because of the pandemic.
So all that, and then the competition that he did play is not even close. Does he have every physical tool? The comparisons to Cam Newton are appropriate. He plays a lot like Cam, but he needs some seasoning. It doesn't surprise me one bit. But for Shanahan to play coy like this, and the excuse that, well, if I tell you who I'm going to start, you're going to scheme for me. Well, dude, you're a coach. Scheme a different scheme. Your guys know it. We know it. Everybody knows it. And if you show up week 1 and it's not Garoppolo, you've done a pretty good job of keeping a secret, or the team has kept a pretty good secret. But if they didn't expect that, if they are practicing because it's a meritocracy on a football field, the best players 99.99999% of the time play. They start. If the best player is not starting at quarterback, you lose your team. Everybody knows. So everybody knows Garoppolo is going to start. I know he's going to start, but Shanahan has to play this game. It's silly. Just tell us, or just admit to the fact, or don't even make it a competition the way you act like it's a competition.
So the 49ers' first game is in Detroit against the Lions. Make the Lions watch some FCS tape is what I'm getting at here, because Jimmy G, he might be the starter. He probably is going to be the starter at some point, and it might even be week 2 against the Eagles in Philadelphia. Trey Lance is going to get an opportunity. It might be week 8 against whoever they end up playing week 8. I don't have the full roster in front of me right here, but my point is Trey Lance, 3rd overall pick. You still got to see what he's got at some point, because Jimmy G is going into a contract year next year. There might be somebody who wants him as a backup quarterback. Jimmy Garoppolo as the backup quarterback for the Dallas Cowboys this year or next year, it's expensive backup, but it's a good one to have.
Yeah, he's a starting quarterback in the NFL.
Yeah.
Jimmy Garoppolo will start someplace next year. I don't know where, but it won't be with the 49ers, and it won't be as a backup. He's too talented. He's not there yet. Now, he will finish his career as a backup, as most do, but right now, he's looking to start this year. As soon as they go under 500, get a little worried, he gets yanked, and he'll play someplace next.
Well, that was Carl's countdown. What If is one of the best shows on Disney Plus right now. I've seen a couple episodes. I enjoy it. Last night was a new episode. Pledger says it's the best one ever. We're not going to get into spoilers, but we are going to get into your sports what ifs. We'll have everybody in on it. Edwin, be prepared to have one ready as well. This is halftime. This is San Antonio Sports Star, ESPN AM 1250 and 94.5 FM.
Friday nights mean one thing. San Antonio Sports Stars High School Football Game of the Week. Powered by Hill Electric. Jason Minix and Kevin Brock have the call each week beginning at 7 p.m. from the GPS of Texas broadcast booth. A Friday night Texas tradition.
Tomorrow, Johnson, Wagner, 6:30 pregame, 7 o'clock kickoff.
High school football each week from San Antonio Sports Star, ESPN 1250 and 94.5 FM.
If you get arrested, get out of jail fast by calling AA Best Bail Bonds, 210-225-2121. Text bail to 474747 or online mybestbailbonds.com. You don't have to call attorneys or anybody else. Don't be forced into a PR bond. If the jail offers you one, make sure you understand the conditions before accepting it. AA Best Bail Bonds. Nobody beats their price. They have payment plans. Call 210-225-2121 or mybestbailbonds.com.
License number 149.
Does it feel like finding clothes in your fit is impossible? Tired of feeling overwhelmed with options that just aren't right? Let the experts at Stitch Fix do the shopping for you. At Stitch Fix, we make sure each piece is hand-selected for your life. So whether you're staying home or on the go, Stitch Fix has the answer for what to wear. We make it easy to find what works for you. Signing up takes just a few minutes, and styles are delivered directly to your door. Get started today at StitchFix.com. Stitch Fix, your style delivered.
Howdy, San Antonio. Chip Ingram from the Roo Pub and the Angry Elephant, inviting you to come out and enjoy patio season. We have newly remodeled patios, garage doors, and everything else you need to enjoy this great South Texas weather. As always, ice cold beer and specialty drinks. Happy hours daily from 11 a.m. to 7 p.m. And our kitchen is open from 11 a.m. to 2 a.m. See you soon at the Roo Pub and the Angry Elephant at 281 and Redland Road.
O'Reilly. Ready for an oil change? Visit the professional parts people at O'Reilly Auto Parts to get everything you need. Right now, get 5 quarts of Mobil 1 full synthetic motor oil for just $28.95 and earn double O rewards points with your purchase. Protect your engine against sludge and wear with Mobil 1 full synthetic motor oil. On sale now at O'Reilly Auto Parts.
O'Reilly Auto Parts.
Prescription products require an online consultation. Restrictions apply. See website for full details and important safety information.
Think you might have ED? Not sure? Well, we'd like to let you in on a little secret. ED is common. About 40% of men experience ED by age 40, but the solution is simple. Find it at 4hims.com.
I didn't have to talk to a doctor in person. There was no copay, and the medication was shipped right to my door in discreet packaging.
Hims took care of it, fast and easy. Now our love life is better than ever.
Get access to doctors online who can prescribe you FDA-approved ED medication if appropriate. The same active ingredient as name brands, but 90% cheaper. Skip the waiting rooms and pharmacy lines. Get a free medical consultation and rise to the occasion or your money back. Go to forhims.com/radio to get your first visit free. No copay required. The only way to get this special offer is to go to forhims.com/radio. forhims.com/radio.
Guys, stop what you're doing. Give me a few seconds of your time and let me give you a piece of advice that will change your love life forever. Have you noticed you've been losing a little pep in your step? Has your lady friend asked you, is everything okay? Do you find yourself having trouble rising for the occasion? Do you stress out before that special moment and wonder, is it gonna work? Guys, I'm going to let you in on a big secret. You don't ever have to worry again. The Mojo Male Enhancement Formula has you covered. Mojo is the 100% guaranteed male enhancement formula that guarantees lasting success, if you know what I mean. The Mojo Male Enhancement Formula is safe, natural, and effective every single time, guaranteed. Mojo is available in a fast-acting spray and a quick-action capsule. Do yourself and her a favor and call Pure Line Nutrition in San Antonio today. They'll get you set up for success. Call 210-494-2210. That number again is 210-494-2210. Mojo Male Enhancement, only available at Pure Line Nutrition.
It's halftime with Rob Thompson and Carl Schoening on San Antonio Sports Star, ESPN 1250 and 94.5 FM.
It's halftime. Hope you guys are enjoying your midday break with us on San Antonio Sports Star, ESPN AM 1250, 94.5 FM. I'm not going to get into spoilers, but What If is one of the best Marvel shows that you can get right now on Disney Plus. Pledge, you saw last night's episode. I don't even know.
Good.
I don't even know the premise. We'll just leave it that you found it very enjoyable. So if you're a Marvel fan like Pledger and I, best one yet. And I'm looking forward to it. I'll have to watch it sometime when I get an opportunity. They're only like 30 minutes long, so it's enjoyable and it's quick.
And What If is fun. Loki's by far the best thing they've done.
So because of this, we're starting to see a lot of sports what ifs in the Twitterverse.
Ooh.
Yeah, and Basketball Forever tweeted something out. What if Ray Allen missed that shot? Ellipses. Tim Duncan would have the same finals record as MJ. Dwayne Wade only has 2 rings. LeBron is 3-7 in the finals. Tracy McGrady would have a ring. The Miami Heat Big Three would be 1-3 in the finals, and Kawhi would have 3 rings. I kind of want to start off by saying, if the Spurs, if the Spurs win that 2013 finals, I don't know if they come back and win the 2014 championship, because that 2014 team was the most focused I have ever seen a Spurs team. And there's a lot of really focused Spurs teams. I've seen the Spurs win 60 games several times in my life with those Tim Duncan Spurs. That 2014 team was on a mission, and then they got to see Miami again. They blew them out of the water. That what if the Spurs win 2013 doesn't necessarily mean that the rest of the history goes forward. So in a way, we'll just start with that one, and we'll have our own ones. I know Pledger has a good one. But what if the Spurs win in 2013? Maybe the Heat win in 2014. Maybe they're the ones that come back with a vengeance, and maybe LeBron stays in Miami and those kinds of things. So just because you change one thing, you change a lot of things. That's how the timeline tends to work.
So I'm learning from the Marvel universe. So I've learned from Loki that if things change early, a lot of stuff down the road changes. Here's the thing with that shot. And I kind of agree with a lot of what they're saying. If he misses rings, but I do believe in 2014, if the Spurs win, Tim retires. I think he's gone.
He gets his back-to-back.
I think he got everything he was chasing. I think Manu is nearly retired, because that quest, that fight, it was the only thing that fueled them for a couple years. They had to go back and get it, because it now rested on their legacy, even though it had already been taken. But Pop did a great job of getting his guys convinced and getting them back on it. I think that the era ends so much quicker. And I think if they win in 2014, Pop's already gone. I think he retires a little bit quicker, because the sweet taste of the back-to-back and doing everything that was required. I I think that the Spurs are worse, would have been worse off if we had lost that one. I know that sounds strange, but it prolonged and it gave us that glorious come back and get it that we wouldn't have been able to taste.
I want to take this outside of the Spurs, obviously, because the Spurs have several what ifs. I saw what if Manu didn't break his elbow in 2011 against Memphis. Maybe they beat Memphis, and that's another ring right there. But then if they win a ring in 2011, do they make a move for Kawhi Leonard? They probably don't trade George Hill in that case.
Nope.
Pudge, you said you had a couple good ones. I'm interested. What's your best one out of the two first?
The best one? Well, the best one is probably Texas Longhorn centric. My what if is, what if Colt McCoy doesn't get hurt on that first drive in the national championship game against Alabama? Colt McCoy was moving the football against Alabama to start that game. Garrett Gilbert took almost the entire game to get his bearings under him. Garrett Gilbert doesn't get thrust into the spotlight. Maybe post McCoy's era is better. Texas has another championship, possibly. Colt McCoy, what is his legend at Texas compared to Vince Young's? All of a sudden, now that he has a national title on his record, much the same way Vince Young does, like there is a lot of what ifs of what happens. How much longer is Mac Brown still at the University of Texas after that? How does the recruiting, how does complacency, all the things that led to Mac's exit, how does that change if Colt wins that national title?
Does Texas go on an Alabama-type run if they win that 2009 championship?
It was entirely possible.
Yeah.
Mac was in perfect position to be Saban at that point. He was. That team, Texas was the most talented team apart from the one that USC bought for the 5 years. I mean, I'm not saying that Texas didn't help, but they were that good. I do think if he stays in, McCoy plays one, Mac Brown, the program prolongs, but more important than anything else, it would have kept Charlie Strong from coming to Texas. And this is not degrading to Strong, although it should be, but he stepped into a bad situation where the cupboards were far more bare than he thought they were. Where the Texas was, Mac Brown had really started to slip a little bit by that point. So I don't think you ever deal with the Strong years. You never have to deal with the Texas's back crap. And I'll go even further. They win that second ring. They are still in the Big 12, and the Big 12 is as preeminent as any other conference in football.
Interesting. So mine, being a Bobcat fan, is what if, and I know I might lose some of y'all on this because you don't know about this, but what if in 2013 and 2014 Texas State makes bowl games under Dennis Franchione? Because Coach Fran was brought in to be the FCS coach, does a great job. He turns that team around from a 4-8 team his first year to a 6-6 and a 7-5 team. They were bowl eligible both years, and the bowl selection committee snubs them. They go on to be 3-9 the next year. Fran retires. Everett Withers takes over. He could never win more than 3 games, and that's basically where Texas State has been. It's hard to recruit guys when you say, oh, have you ever been to a bowl game? It's like, well, we've been eligible twice. And I wonder if that's where that stops, because I know Dennis Franchione was trying to get the next big job and retire on one big contract. And the fact that he didn't get those bowl games meant that Texas State pretty much had a downward spiral they haven't been able to get out of. And Fran was somebody who set up Sherman for success. I know he brought in a lot of talent. Fran was always the guy that was the stepping stone into the next level. He brought in a lot of talent for Alabama, too.
I'll tell you, Coach Fran is the negative karma that A&M deserved. The way that they kind of snuck in, got Fran, the way that remember when the A&M lost Billy Clyde Gillespie, we felt like he had been poached from Kentucky as a basketball coach. A&M went in there and grabbed Franchione away from Alabama in a weird way. You know what I mean? It just didn't ever feel right, and that opened the door for Nick Saban. If Fran would have stayed around, the whole world would have been different.
That's another what if, right?
Absolutely. And as we're talking A&M, what if Johnny Football stays another year?
Oh, that would have been awesome. He might have gotten hit by NCAA violations pretty hard.
That's where I'm going. I think if he'd have stayed around A&M another year, they would have been competitive. They would have been a wonderful team to watch, but A&M right now would be dealing with a variety of issues. I'm not saying someone would still be here, but it would have prolonged, You wouldn't have seen a Kyler Murray at A&M. You wouldn't have seen a Kyle Allen at A&M. You wouldn't have seen Spavital leave at some point. He would have probably progressed and become the head coach at Texas A&M because he'd have had I will say it, I think Johnny would have won the Heisman twice.
Mm-hmm.
I think
that would have been awesome.
I think he would have gotten another one. As good as he was, and that team that have been put together by someone to just capitalize on everything Johnny was, we'd have had a little bit more of that, couple of more wins. I'm not sure the same coach would be there now. Jimbo certainly wouldn't be here, I don't think. So that's the loss that I do think in the long run actually helped the A&M program. But in the short term, I think we would have seen a significant change in the A&M's status in the national football lexicon. It would have stayed there a little bit longer, and they would have become, I think, a little bit more of no, they're exactly who they would have been, whether Sumlin stayed or not. But I do think that with Johnny staying one more year, the landscape with A&M inside the SEC would have been a completely different thing. Their place in the league would still be a little bit higher than it has become.
Rudy Campos says on Facebook Live, what if David Robinson never gets injured? We don't get Tim Duncan, so do we even win any titles? Don't put that out into the universe. No what ifs on that one. We don't need to live in the universe where Tim Duncan is not a Spur.
Well, if David hadn't gotten hurt, we would have created an injury.
The Spurs wanted Tim Duncan that bad.
It was going. That's the reason Hill was let go. It was the reason Pop was there. He took over that gig for one reason, to get Tim. And they forced David to sit down. I think he might have been able to play. We'll never know. But the intent that year was to get Tim Duncan, whether he was hurt or not, whether David was hurt or not. Somebody else would have been pulled. They'd have made a trade. They'd have done something to be awful, get themselves in the lottery. So I don't think that much would have changed, though. It might have changed the trajectory of Bob Hill's career.
And you never know, if he doesn't get injured, maybe the Spurs end up with a different series of lottery balls if they were eventually lottery bound either way, because they were coming off of a Western Conference Finals, if I'm not mistaken.
We'd won a lot of playoff games under Bob Hill.
Yeah.
A lot of playoff games that we all knew, as did Pop. This was not a team that was going to be capable of it. You had to retool. Couldn't do it now, though.
My other what if, and you'll appreciate this one, Rob. What if the Houston Oilers could have held on to that 35-3 halftime lead against the Buffalo Bills? No, seriously, that was the best team the Oilers had that had a chance to go to the Super Bowl, which would have made it an all-Texas Super Bowl between the Cowboys and Oilers. Plus, would Houston have left? Would the Oilers still be in Houston? You'd have a very recent Super Bowl title, not title, but at least appearance, because the Cowboys were really good that year. Like, there are so many ramifications to what if they hold on to that lead against the Buffalo Bills.
And Bud Adams' name would be held in great esteem. The Adams family would have been looked at as heroes to the greater Houston area. Instead, now their name is Mud, as they took the name and the franchise to Tennessee. I do think if they'd have won that game, they'd still be there.
I do too.
That's as big of a what if as anything. We're talking about $1 billion change from a collapse in the half. Interesting what if.
And now we're dealing with Tommy Boy running the Houston Texans.
Fat guy in a little coat.
That guy in a little coat.
That was a fun segment. We might have to try that again some other time. Thanks for participating on the Facebook and YouTube streams, y'all. We got some football headlines coming back. This is San Antonio Sports Star. This is Halftime. Thanks for tuning in to ESPN AM 1250 and 94.5 FM.
Get the latest scores and more from high school football online anytime at 210varsity.com. Sponsored by the San Antonio Express News. San Antonio Sports Star. ESPN 1250 and 94.5 FM.
Hey, sports bettors, I'm talking to you. Listen up. Rob Thompson here to tell you about my favorite sports book, my only sports book, that's BetUS. Football, baseball, of course, they've got it. They're all back, and that means it's time to lay down your bets. And I only endorse one sports book. There's only one that I am with, and that is BetUS.com. You might ask why. It's pretty obvious. They've been around for 25 years. I trust them. They pay me when I win. You need a sports book with integrity and longevity. That's what I have. You need it too. It's BetUS. And if you need to know what you're going to do and what you need, one thing you need to know is you're always going to get paid on time. You need a sports book that offers everything, including live betting, MMA, golf, horses, esports. You want online casino. You like video poker. You like all of that. Well, they've got it. And you want to sign up. It's so easy. Give them a call. 1-800-79-BET-US. Again, 1-800-79-BET-US. Nobody in the industry gives better bonuses than BetUS. Let me tell you, you go sign up right now and use the KZDC when asked. That's who we are here at San Antonio Sports Stars. Those are our call letters, KZDC. You get up to 150% in bonuses on your first deposit. Well over doubling your bonus count right with your first deposit. And it's so easy to join. They'll walk you through it. They'll get you signed up. You can go to the website as well, betus.com, betus.com, betus.com. That is where you need to go. betus.com. That's where I lay my money. You should do the same. Go lay some money, win it, and thank me later.
ESPN AM 1250 and 94.5 FM.
We're rapidly approaching game week in the college football world, and the Texas colleges are starting to make some headlines. Yesterday, in a Houston radio interview, Texas A&M coach Jimbo Fisher named redshirt freshman Haynes King the starting quarterback for Week 1 against Kent State. Hudson Card has been trending towards being named the starting quarterback for the University of Texas, according to multiple reports. And according to Pro Football Focus, UTSA safety Rashad Wisdom is the 73rd ranked NFL draft prospect for 2022. Wisdom has been starting since his true freshman year in 2019 and earned coverage grades of 76.3 and 78 over that span. Those are your college football headlines. For San Antonio Sports Star, I'm Carl Schoening.
Everyone here knows Diamonds Direct is the place to go for the best diamonds at the best prices. But did you know that savvy buyers from all over America, even Los Angeles and New York, now come here to buy their diamonds? These high-end shoppers have discovered that Diamonds Direct has one of America's best selections of large, rare diamonds, from 3 carats to 20 carats, all certified by the GIA, the most reputable and most trusted gem lab in the world. Because of Diamonds Direct's international connections and tremendous buying power, we're one of only a handful of jewelry stores in America that is able to offer a large selection of rare and precious GIA diamonds. In fact, Diamonds Direct's multi-million-dollar selection includes a stunning array of high-end Riviera necklaces, 20-carat tennis bracelets, and an extraordinary collection of rare, precious gemstones, rubies, sapphires, emeralds, and even the really hard-to-find fancy yellow diamonds. Come see why Diamonds Direct right here is the destination for high-end shoppers all over America. Extraordinary selection, quality, and unmatched value. And a short drive for you. Diamonds Direct, official jeweler of the Dallas Cowboys at the shops at La Cantera.
When it comes to replacing your home windows, nobody does it better in San Antonio than the Window Source. If you're still living with old, drafty, single-pane windows, those have got to go. Upgrade to new, Texas-made, Texas-proud, energy-efficient windows. The Window Source of San Antonio offers some of the best deals around, and all come with the assurance of a full lifetime warranty. Call 210-880-3021 to book your free estimate or visit them online to learn more. WindowSourceofSA.com. Let them old windows go.
Hi, welcome to Smoky Moe's.
At Smoky Moe's Barbecue, we smoke our meats fresh, in-house, each and every day. We think it makes all the difference in the quality of our moist, flavorful brisket and turkey, and the mouth-watering tenderness of our ribs and pork loin. Got a crowd? We've got group packs and full-service catering. Up early? We've got made-to-order breakfast tacos. Find your store at SmokyMoe'sBarbecue.com and come see us for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. Smoky Moe's Barbecue. The pit is lit.
Jason Minix here for Alamo Water Softeners to tell you they have the perfect solution for your family's complete water treatment. The top-of-the-line CareSoft Elite Plus 1 filter is an advanced 2-stage system built to protect your family from harmful contaminants that may be in your water. Save $1,000 on the CareSoft Elite Plus 1 system now through Labor Day while supplies last. Discover the Alamo Water Softeners difference. Go to AlamoWaterSofteners.com. That's AlamoWaterSofteners.com.
You've been tucked in long enough. Tucked into your home. Tucked into your virtual happy hours. Whatever that means. But finally, you can untuck. Untuck a new romance. Untuck a cold one enjoyed by a roaring bonfire. Untuck whatever you damn well please. And if you want to look good while doing it, untuck with the shirt made for this moment. Untuck it. Shirts designed to be worn untucked. Find your perfect fit at untuckit.com or one of 80-plus Untuckit stores nationwide. Use code SUNNY for 20% off your first purchase.
Oh, according to research, 82% of people remember radio ads. So 82% of you listening will remember that this is an ad for ZipRecruiter. 82% of you will note that if you're hiring, ZipRecruiter finds qualified people for your job. In fact, 4 out of 5 employers who post on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. And 82% of you will remember that you can try ZipRecruiter for free, but you have to go to ZipRecruiter.com/free. Yes, free. Again, that's ZipRecruiter.com/free.
14 days until the Dallas Cowboys kick off the NFL season against the defending Super Bowl champion Tampa Bay Buccaneers on your home for the Dallas Cowboys all season long. San Antonio Sports Star, ESPN 1250 and 94.5 FM.
Hey, it's Keyshawn Johnson with Keyshawn, J. Will, and Zubin on San Antonio Sports Star, ESPN AM 1250 and 94.5 FM.
Let me move my mic so y'all can see me a little better on the Facebook Live and YouTube streams, or if you're watching at sasportstar.com. I'm Carl Schoening. He's Rob Thompson. You can hit us up on Twitter. I'm at Carl ESPN. That's Carl with a K. And he's at Rob Thompson ESPN. Edwin, looking into the camera over there. He doesn't have a Twitter, but he's being watched by James Pledger, who is at I Am Pledger.
Being watched.
Somewhere around the last 5 years, hockey devolved to the 5th sport in the States, and soccer became number 4. And soccer is hot on baseball's trail. If they're not careful, they're going to catch up to baseball. That's a whole nother conversation. But I do want to get into some headlines that we might not have been talking about 5-7 years ago. Cristiano Ronaldo and Manchester City are close to an agreement, and that'll bring Cristiano Ronaldo back to the Premier League, as his time in Juventus was pretty short. And obviously, he was at Real Madrid before that. So good for Cristiano Ronaldo. Probably going to get paid. That'll be an interesting story to keep an eye on. And we have World Cup qualifiers coming on, and good news for Team USA. They weren't sure if he was going to be there because of COVID recently being contracted, but Christian Pulisic will be on that team as they're going to get through and play El Salvador on September 2nd. They're going to play Canada in Nashville 3 days later, and they're going to Honduras on September 8th for a series of World Cup qualifiers. Those are going to be interesting because I think this might be the first year that America maybe actually cares about World Cup qualifiers significantly, the non-hardcore soccer fans, because everybody really cares about the World Cup, and now these games are probably going to be seen, it looks like, on ESPN Plus and such.
Do you think that what is the reason why we're paying more attention to soccer? Why do you think over the last, as you said, 5 years, that suddenly it's become something that is actually something we look for? I saw just yesterday the MLS ratings are way up this year, and actually it's a trend for 3 consecutive years. MLS television ratings have gone up. We are paying attention to the World Cup, and our men's team sucks. So why are we paying attention? Why is it growing?
Social media makes access of highlights, news, information so much easier these days, and people are getting on social media more and more every day, especially during the pandemic. Everybody who maybe didn't even have a social media all of a sudden gets one. Sorry, Edwin, I know you're Twitterless over there. But it is one of those things where now all of a sudden, I couldn't name 3 Manchester City players, even if you gave me Ronaldo. But it is something where all of a sudden people are able to see it here in the United States a little bit easier as well. So even if you're a supporter, there's a bit more of a push from the media world for the highest level. And American exceptionalism has kind of somewhat been removed from the equation. We don't need to have the best league in the world. However, a lot more people are still supporting the MLS. Maybe it started with David Beckham going to the Galaxy a few years ago when he got that $250 million deal. And that sort of opened up, not a floodgate, but the faucet started to turn on a little bit.
How much do the women play into this?
The women are definitely a big part of it because that's, as far as I can tell, a top 3 most popular sport among girls growing up.
Well, I'm talking about our women's team.
Yes, because they're so good. That's maybe pushed soccer to being a top team, because everybody is it. Now I'm blanking on it. Mia Hamm.
Mm-hmm.
Mia Hamm was the big one. Everybody remembers the 90s teams that were really good. And the current generation that's just now ending is carried that torch, and if I'm not mistaken, the next ones are also going to be pretty good. So the women's soccer team's definitely helped out, and overall, it is the world's game. It is the most popular sport in the world, so it obviously catches up. Well, that was the first half of halftime. I'm Rob Thompson. He's Carl Schoen and James Pledger telling me to wrap it up. We'll catch you on the second half of halftime on San Antonio Sports Star, ESPN AM 1250, 94.5 FM.
Get the latest scores from all varsity sports and all the schools in the 210 anytime at 210varsity.com. Sponsored by the San Antonio Express News. While you're at the game on Friday nights, upload photos and videos to your school's page.
No way.
Plus, check out game schedules and more. 210varsity.com. From the Express News and San Antonio Sports Star, ESPN 1250 and 94.5 FM.
Homeowners, you hear the news every day. Rates go up and rates go down. While the economy struggles to recover, rising inflation rears its ugly head. Stop banging your head against a wall. Mortgage rates are again at all-time lows. That's right. Rates are at all-time lows. Put a bit of cash back in your pocket with a refi from True Mortgage. Get a 15-year fixed at just 1.75%, 2.140% APR. Even better, True Mortgage will cover your title, escrow, and appraisal fees. Qualification is fast and simple. Keep more of your hard-earned money and boost your savings. Lock in a lifetime of true value today with the lowest rates ever offered at 800-775-9353. That's 800-775-9353. 800-775-9353. Or visit TrueNow.com. Sign on the line. ATBA True Mortgage is located at 100 Spectrum Center Drive, Suite 520, Irvine, California 92618. Licensed by the Texas Department of Savings and Mortgage Lending as an SML mortgage banker. Equal housing lender. Terms and conditions apply. Based on a loan amount of $400,000. Monthly principal and interest payments. Primary residence only with a 50% loan to value. Not all applicants will qualify. NMLS number 60DBO44713.
Hello, I'm Mike Lindell, inventor of MyPillow. Here to tell you about my Giza Dream bed sheets. I made sure that they would be everything you'd ever want in a sheet set. I started with the world's finest cotton called Giza. It's only grown in a region where the Sahara Desert, the Nile River, and the Mediterranean Sea all meet. The long staple cotton makes my Giza Dream sheets ultra soft and durable. They come with extra wide pillowcases to fit over any pillow and extra deep pockets to fit over any mattress. Not only that, they come with my 60-day money-back guarantee and a 10-year warranty. And now you can get the best sheets ever for the best price ever. When you buy one of my Giza Dream bed sheet sets, you'll get another one absolutely free. I personally guarantee that they'll be the most comfortable sheets you'll ever own.
Go to mypillow.com and click on the radio listener square and use promo code SKY, S-K-Y, for this amazing special, or call 800-635-1825 and use promo code SKY.
When you're ready to buy something, the first thing you do is go online. But buying a home is different. You've got loan applications, pre-approvals, competing offers, the list goes on. That's where a Realtor comes in. Realtors have expertise and local knowledge to give you a competitive edge that a search bar just can't. And in today's market, an edge is what you need. So when you're ready to buy a home, the first thing to do is make sure you have an agent who's a Realtor. Realtors are members of the National Association of Realtors. That's who we are.
Stream all your favorites with the Disney Bundle. What did you expect? Disney Plus has Loki and Luca. Hulu has originals like Summer of Soul and Love Victor. And ESPN Plus has exciting UFC matchups and new episodes of Stephen A's World. Sign up at DisneyPlus.com and get the Disney Bundle for $13.99 a month. Disney Plus, Hulu, and ESPN Plus. Get the Disney Bundle today. Includes Hulu ad-supported plan. Terms apply. See DisneyPlus.com for details.
Prescription products require an online consultation. Restrictions apply. See website for full details and important safety information.
Think you might have ED? Not sure? Well, we'd like to let you in on a little secret. ED is common. About 40% of men experience ED by age 40, but the solution is simple. Find it at 4hims.com.
I didn't have to talk to a doctor in person. There was no copay, and the medication was shipped right to my door in discreet packaging.
Hims took care of it, fast and easy. Now our love life is better than ever.
Get access to doctors online who can prescribe you FDA-approved ED medication if appropriate. The same active ingredient as name brands, but 90% cheaper. Skip the waiting rooms and pharmacy lines. Get a free medical consultation and rise to the occasion or your money back. Go to 4hims.com/radio to get your first visit free. No copay required. The only way to get this special offer is to go to 4hims.com/radio. FORHIMS.com/RADIO.
When you need an electrician, Hill Electric is available 24/7 for residential and commercial needs. If you're having to rework your office, let Hill Electric design your socially distanced space to ensure each workstation has the proper electrical needs. For over 35 years, the family-owned Hill Electric has served San Antonio. There is never a service charge and always free estimates. Call Hill Electric at 210-404-9074. That's 404-9074. Or go to hill-electric.com.
From the Mother's Window Tint Studios, KZDC, we are San Antonio Sports Star, ESPN 1250 and 94.5 FM. Rob Thompson, Carl Schoening. Halftime.
It's halftime. Second half of halftime on San Antonio Sports Star. ESPN AM 1250, 94.5 FM if you're tuned into our frequencies. I'm Carl Schoening. He's Rob Thompson.
You sure about this? Which one am I?
You're Rob Thompson.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I was led astray last week.
Yeah,
Okay.
my fault.
No, I felt younger. I felt more vital there for about 5 minutes.
You look like a vegan.
I did. I felt like a vegan. I even have a slight aftertaste of broccoli.
Can you teach me yoga?
No. But I hear Carl Schoening can. I am so excited about learning yoga from Carl Schoening. Our weight loss challenge is going to be something special.
Oh, yeah, we're going to have to get that thing rolling.
I'm going
to kick y'all's ass.
I cannot wait to blow a hamstring. I cannot wait to rupture an Achilles. I cannot wait to strain some sort of abductor muscle, a latissimus dorsi, as I've been told.
B says going back to our previous segment, says on YouTube, we're finally joining the excitement of a sport that brings the world together despite cultural and language difference.
True,
and that's
true.
true because Juventus is Italian. Real Madrid, where Ronaldo was beforehand, is Spanish, and we can also name a few other Spanish clubs. Where he's going is Manchester City, which is in the northern part of England, and I had to Google that today because I did not know where Manchester was. That's England, and this is a Portuguese player, so it's very much global sport, and that's something that Americans don't always quite catch on to, is that it's so different over there, where if you go 150 miles in a different direction, you might not be able to speak the language. More or less, especially in Texas, you're going to stay in Texas if you go 150 miles in any direction.
More than that.
Yeah, you're going to need to drive for a little bit here. So we have a little bit of Ben Simmons conversation. We like to talk about Ben Simmons because he is the last domino to fall in this entire free agency. I get the feeling that 24 teams are constantly inquiring with Daryl Morey, the Philadelphia 76ers GM. Has that price gone down a little bit yet? Here's our bid. We might update it. Here's the second rounder included. Let's hear from Adrian Wojnarowski, who was on with Greeny this morning on Get Up, and see what Woj has to say on the update.
Philadelphia has continued to try to see if they could find a deal for Simmons before the start of camp. They have not had success in really getting any traction for the high asking price they're asking for Ben Simmons. Minnesota's one team that has been persistent with Philadelphia, but they've needed to have really third and even four teams in those kind of deals to get back Philly what it would want. And I think for the Sixers, if they're going to trade Ben Simmons, they've got to get back players right now who continue on that Joel Embiid timeline of having an MVP level player in his prime that you're trying to win championships with. And that's a hard package to get back for Joel or for Ben Simmons right now. There's a very distinct possibility he's going to have to come back to training camp with them next season. Remember, he's got 4 years left on his deal. He's nowhere near free agency, and they're going to have to, it seems, if they don't find a deal, try to increase his value, get him off to a good start next year, and then revisit trades during the season. But things can change, and certainly Philly's still motivated to find a deal between now and the start of the season.
His value could go up? Oh, my God.
It's at the lowest point that it could ever be at this point in time.
5 number ones and 2 all-stars? I mean, it sounds like if more you think the value is going to go up, you're never going to move him. He's asking for the world already.
And if they do make it to September 28th media days and training camp starting, Ben Simmons will be walking into Philadelphia and saying, well, this is awkward.
You're right.
Yeah.
It's going to be awkward, but I think he's going to be there.
Yeah, it's going to be awkward for everybody, but my thought process is that there are offers on the table that Daryl Morey will begrudgingly take that might not be there if Ben Simmons gets injured or if he pouts and doesn't play. And is there any chance that Ben Simmons is going to show up in a fat suit, James Pleasure?
Probably not.
No?
But when you listen to what Woj said about getting an established player, but people that can help win a title now, the Spurs don't have that to offer for the most part. They don't have the players of the caliber that they would be looking for. But if I was Philadelphia, or if you were Philadelphia, would you give Ben Simmons and a first to acquire Bradley Beal?
So that this comes from an article that I was reading, and it seems that both Damian Lillard and Bradley Beal are all in on one more year in their situations at least. And Bradley Beal is the question mark here because they reshaped their roster to be built around him a little bit better. The Russell Westbrook experiment did not work. They shipped him over to LA. Bradley Beal gets to maximize his value before his potential free agency. The Spurs are one of, I think, only 3 teams that actually have cap space next year. So Bradley Beal might be in a DeMar DeRozan situation where the best contract that he can get is through a sign and trade. We'll have to see what happens there. But I think Beal is also going to stay in Washington because they don't want to give up anything for him. Ben Simmons, as good as he is a cornerstone player. His value is just at an all-time low, and I don't think Morey, who is one of the stingiest GMs there are in this league, wants to give up a first-round pick while also moving Ben Simmons or any of the other assets they have, like a Matisse Thybulle or a Tyrese Maxey. The Spurs, as we mentioned earlier, have yet to really introduce only a couple pictures saying welcome to Thaddeus Young, Al-Farouq Aminu, and Chandler Hutchinson. Those guys combined don't quite match up to the salary of a Ben Simmons.
Nor talent, quite frankly.
No, but we both agree on this. Thaddeus Young is a starting 4 in this league.
No question.
Thaddeus Young, if he comes into San Antonio, if the Spurs can't move him because they're trying to maybe flip him for an asset or a Ben Simmons, it's not a problem. He is a top-notch professional. Oddly enough, the only player older than 30 on the roster right now, Al-Farouq Aminu, is the other 30-year-old on the roster, which is weird for me to say because the Spurs, we went from being older than dirt, according to Pop, to all of a sudden the Spurs are right up there with the youngest in the league. But there has to be something on the table that is there for Daryl Morey that also he doesn't mind going into a we want to win a championship year in Philadelphia mode. Who is that guy that'll complement Joel Embiid? Because they've ruined the complementary pieces of Ben Simmons and Joel Embiid. It looked like they were going to be 1 and 2, and then they bring in Tobias Harris and Jimmy Butler, and that just absolutely stunts the growth of Ben Simmons. At least offensively. He's a phenomenal defensive player. Defensive player of the year candidate.
And will continue to be that. Some of the blame for how things fell apart, I do think, and blame might not be the right term. I don't know what the premise for hiring Doc Rivers was. I don't know what the interview process was when they hired Doc. Did they ask him? Did they talk about how are you going to make Ben Simmons and Joel Embiid work together? We've got enough data here. I'm Daryl Morey. I know data. And it's showing me that these guys keep running into each other in the lane, that the one place they're both comfortable, there's not enough room for them. Was Doc hired to fix the problem? Or was Doc hired to trade the problem away and rebuild? I don't know what the auspices were. I know what the last season looked like, and it didn't work. So if Doc was brought in to make it work, it didn't. I don't know what pieces you can add that they don't already kind of have for Ben Simmons. What could we send, or any team send to them? They've got a pretty solid defensive backcourt. They don't have a lot of shooting, but, we need to find that. A lot of teams are looking for that. They got a solid big. When you look at their depth, they're okay. They're okay. But even if they make a deal, they're not going to be contenders past the second round of the playoffs. Do we think if they make a move, unless they bring in a Beal or they bring in a Dame Lillard, anything short of that, is there a title in the works?
You know that Daryl Morey's been begging for Portland and Washington to send them one of those guys, Bradley Beal or Dame Lillard. If that deal was going to be made, it would have been made already. It seems that those two players, for at least this year, are staying put. There's a 4-year deal with Ben Simmons, so they don't have to deal. It's not like an Anthony Davis trade request where he only has a year and a half left on his deal. He could opt out or anything along those lines. This is the Philadelphia 76ers can take their time right now, but they would rather have the full training camp. And Doc Rivers, I don't know. Sure, he won the 2008 Boston Celtics championship, or he's on that team, I should say. Didn't really do much in Orlando. Didn't really do much until he got Kevin Garnett and company. Didn't take the Clippers to the promised land. 76ers, I would dare say he ruined Ben Simmons' trade value. He didn't use him in post-ups. He didn't use him as the ball handler in pick and rolls. There were not any Joel Embiid, Ben Simmons pick and rolls in the playoffs. They hardly used him for the screen and roll anyway. They just said, hey, you're a defensive stopper. You're our point guard, kinda. You bring the ball across midcourt. You can push the break whenever you want. But Tobias Harris and Joel Embiid and Seth Curry are taking the majority of the shots. Somewhere along the way, Ben Simmons could have been one of the best offensive players in the league, even like a Giannis level. Maybe he never develops his jump shot, but when he gets to the rim, he has so many moves to finish around the rim that he is that effective and good. They just stole away his offensive instincts. He's a pass-first guy, and in the half-court setting, he never developed as that dude that'll get you a bucket. If he's open in the fast break, watch out. But for whatever reason, they said, hey, don't worry about your offensive shortcomings. You play defense. We'll get you Jimmy Butler. We'll get you Tobias Harris. Obviously, Jimmy Butler wanted to be the guy. There's even rumors that there was a feud there between Jimmy Butler and Ben Simmons that maybe forced Butler to go to Miami. But in this particular case, we're just talking about a guy who 24 teams in the league have made offers, I imagine.
You're not doing your due diligence if you're a GM and you haven't called. I mean, I don't care who you are. I don't care if it's the Lakers. You're not doing your due diligence because look to the NFL world. The Cardinals made a call to O'Brien and they got a yes. I don't think they expected to get D-Hop for a bag of sand and a jackass, but they did. So you don't know until you actually make the call. I guarantee everybody has called. And you brought up something that's important to think about. By your description, and as a Sixers fan, Doc Rivers was brought in to get rid of Ben Simmons.
You know, I don't know about get rid of him, but you would have hoped that Doc's reputation would have excelled his play, and it seems to have regressed his play.
Yes, and I'm not going to take any away from Doc. Doc is a hell of a basketball coach, one of the best, but he has some personality quirks, and I don't think he likes Ben Simmons. I don't think he likes him.
Somebody sent Stephen A. Smith a text message right after all this went down, basically sending Ben Simmons' reputation even further down, saying he doesn't want to work, he doesn't play hard, all these kinds of things. And you have to wonder sometimes, it wouldn't be Doc Rivers who sent that message, but if it was somebody close to Doc Rivers, Stephen A. Smith wouldn't have said it if it weren't a legitimate source. Patella Franklin says on Facebook Live, if you're Philly, would you accept a 3-way trade with Draymond Green, Derek White, and role players? I mean, where does he end up? Does he end up in San Antonio?
It's not enough.
Yeah.
It's not enough.
Well, first-round picks are going to have to be involved. Yeah. Why would the Spurs or the Warriors do that if they're not getting Ben Simmons? Somebody's missing out there.
Well, I will tell Franklin that I think Draymond would be fantastic on the Sixers. I think that would be a piece that would make them a championship caliber team because it would free Embiid of some of the things that he doesn't like to do. and it would allow the offense to flow through Draymond. And I think that was the idea with Ben Simmons. Get into the lane and kick to the corners. But when you get into the lane, you're in Joel Embiid's land, and it just didn't work. When you're dealing with him, you get in the lane and kick to the corners. I think it would improve that offense. And I don't think that Doc would turn that down. But in the NBA world, that's not enough to get a Ben Simmons. I like Ben Simmons. I think he would be a great Spur. But the asking price as we sit right now is incredibly high. And as we talk about the Ben Simmons move, as I look what Philadelphia has, unless there are significant pieces on this team that are included in this Ben Simmons deal, there is nothing that San Antonio has to offer that Philadelphia can use. We got nothing. They got everything like we already got. You want big, strong, defensive guards? Danny Green, Tobias Harris. We haven't even gotten into how good a defense Thibault plays. So they got what we got already. What do we have to offer them? It'd have to be other teams. And I think if the deal does happen, whether it's with Washington or Portland or whatever, Spurs will be a part of that deal, but they'll be the periphery players that land here.
Like you said, they're doing their due diligence, and they have, if I'm not mistaken, 18 players that they're contractually tied to right now, with Keita Bates-Diop still out there with a qualifying offer that he could accept at any moment. So the Spurs at some point will have to dwindle this roster down to 15. We are a month away from that point. So hopefully something happens between now and then to, make this conversation a little more exciting. One of the things we do here on Halftime is I compile some headlines, some of the more recent headlines, because as we hit noon and 1 o'clock, we have some bigger lines. Let's get to Carl's Countdown. Headline 2, Austin Eckler wants you to win fantasy with him on your team. Austin Eckler offers signed jerseys to fantasy football players who will win with the Los Angeles Chargers running back. He sent out a tweet, said, "Attention fantasy owners, huge weekly giveaways this season. Rules, draft me to your fantasy team, start me in your lineup, win your weekly matchups, post a screenshot to IG or Twitter showing me your victory, and tag me. Winners will be chosen each week and send a signed jersey." I'm going to have to draft him now. I don't even care about a signed jersey with Austin Eckler. I just like that somebody cares about my fantasy team.
Anybody who had Austin Eckler last year ain't drafted him this year. I jumped on that.
Ever had Austin Eckler at drafting
last
him.
year he was on Hard Knocks. They showed him jump over fences and run as fast as anybody I'd ever seen. And I thought, I found him. There's the guy. I got me an Austin Eckler. And he played, 8 games? Sorry, Austin. I'll take a signed jersey. I think you're a good guy, but I ain't drafted you. You're not going to talk me into that.
You know how many players say, forget your fantasy team, man. We're trying to win games. I like that somebody here cares about the fantasy team if he's on it. So good for Austin Eckler. Champions League has had its draw. Lionel Messi and PSG will face off against Man City in group stage, and hopefully we get to see Ronaldo versus Messi. That'd be a lot of fun, as well as Bayern Munich versus Barcelona. So that's the best part about the Champions League, even though they're all different individual.
I don't understand all this stuff.
No, Champions League. So basically, the best teams from each country's league will face off against each other in a sort of fantasy league, if you will, of teams going up in matchups. It's cool.
It is cool, but they do it in the middle of another season.
Yes.
And then they have another thing that players travel off and do something else. There's always tournaments going on, and it's always a big deal, but I get kind of lost in the mix. It's
hard to keep up with.
It is, and you see one team, that's a good team. They don't play together very often. If you like that guy, you got to go follow him on this team, not that team. That's what the little confusing thing about the Europe thing. And we have talked about soccer now 3 times on Halftime. We talked about it this morning. It is a very interesting change in the sports world that we now are looking overseas to see what's going on with stars that are now becoming part of our sports landscape. At least it's new to me.
They're making the headlines on ESPN. I think that's the main difference here, is that ESPN is force feeding us, but I'm all for it. I'll chew along with the force feed. And headline 0. The Buffalo Bills have 2 receivers in COVID issues. Isaiah McKenzie and Cole Beasley fined for COVID-19 protocol violations. I think we knew that this was going to happen with Beasley, but the funny thing is Isaiah McKenzie says, okay, you caught me, NFL. But they were both seen going maskless. They're both unvaccinated. And these are just going to be things that players have to deal with. I think it was $14,000 that Isaiah McKenzie was fined. My goodness.
If he just sloughs it off like, I'll pay my fine, I'm going to continue wearing it, you got to raise the fine. You got to raise the fine. You don't get it, do you? You guys don't get it. Cole Beasley, you don't get it. We're looking at Tennessee that might be starting the season without a quarterback or half their team. You don't get it. This is an economic driver worth billions and billions of dollars. That you got sponsors there in Buffalo. You guys are fighting for a stadium. Your owner is desperate to get a new building built, and he's got players going, well, I'm not going to mask up, and if I have to pay a fine and not play, so be it. You don't get it. The machine is bigger than you. Lead, follow, or get out of the way. If 14,000 isn't enough, raise the freaking fine.
Yep, I agree. That's basically all you need to say, because it is one of those things that these guys need to start getting it. And if it's not a fine, maybe it's a suspension, because they're going to miss those game checks. That's Carl's countdown. So
excellent countdown, by the way.
Yeah, thank you. I appreciate the headlines being easy and accessible thanks to the magic of the internet. I don't know how I would have done this job before the internet.
Well, in the olden times, we had to read, Carl. We had to use our copy machine and our printer, and we had stacks and stacks of paper. You want to see what olden time radio looks like? If you want to see what radio looks like from the old days, how we had to do it, I want you in the morning. I want you to come in. Our good friend and great radio host, a legend in the business, Trey Ware, is on air. He comes on at 5 a.m. in the Blessed. And if you want to walk over and look what Old Time Talk radio host did, you will see what Trey Ware does. And it is a stack of papers all the way down.
Does it get the evening edition of the newspaper delivered to him? Is that still a thing?
Yes.
It is?
If you're over 55 and you have a senior citizen's AARP card, you get the paper delivered to you. It still comes to my house. Still got paper. Yeah.
Oh, wow. I thought print was dead, but I guess not.
It is dying a slow and painful death, but not yet.
All righty. Well, guess what, Rob? We made it. We finally made it. Week 0. We're going to talk the matchups when we come back. Then we also have some Chris Mortensen news on Deshaun Watson and the Eagles potentially. That's a saga that we keep an eye on, much like the Ben Simmons trade, as there's going to be some several things. Hey, you guys might want to hit us up on those Kia Bossa Bacon phone lines during the break. Let us know what you think about all the topics. 210-656. Excuse me, let me start over because I threw in an 8 on accident. 210-656-3776. Thanks for spending your midday break with us. You can call in and get some missions tickets. If you call in and get some missions tickets right now, just whoever calls in first,
wow,
Edwin will pick up the phone call. You get to talk to Edwin. And, we'll just have those fast fingers. Once again, 210-656-3776. We come back talking Week 0 matchups in the NCAA. This is halftime. Thanks for spending your midday break with us. This is San Antonio Sports Star, ESPN AM 1250, 94.5 FM.
The Dallas Cowboys live here all season long. Every snap.
I love it.
Every catch.
Let's go have a day, huh?
Every touchdown. Plus, we'll give you the complete breakdown and preview of every game from our experts. Dallas Cowboys insiders and head coach Mike McCarthy. We're all fans.
Yeah! Yeah!
Hear the call from Brad Sham and the Dallas Cowboys Radio Network. Right here on San Antonio Sports Star, ESPN 1250 and 94.5 FM.
O'Reilly. O'Reilly Auto Parts is here to keep your car on the road with the right parts, advice from our parts professionals, and our free loaner tool program. Your local store has more than 80 specialty tools available for your next repair. Refundable deposit required. Stop by O'Reilly Auto Parts and ask about our free loaner tool program or visit O'ReillyAuto.com.
O'Reilly Auto Parts.
Ah, there's no place like Panera, where a bite of the toasty, saucy Chipotle chicken avocado melt tastes like, focaccia. A cool and refreshing strawberry poppy seed salad al fresco is so sweet. And a cheesy Chipotle chicken and bacon flatbread pizza in your favorite booth feels just right. So treat yourself, because there's no place like Panera. Order on the app today. Restrictions apply. Visit PaneraBread.com.
Your experience matters. At University of Phoenix, relevant life experience and eligible transfer credits can help you earn your degree faster and for less. In fact, undergrads who apply these credits, on average, save about 1 year and $11,000. Get the credit you deserve for time spent in the classroom, on the job, and in life. and see how much you can save at phoenix.edu. That's phoenix.edu.
Listen up, sports bettors. This is Hall of Famer Warren Sapp here to tell you about my favorite sports book, BetUS.com. I only endorse one sports book, and that's BetUS.com. Just like me, BetUS is the Hall of Famer of online betting with more than 25 years in the biz. You need a sports book with integrity and longevity, and you need to know when you win, you're gonna get paid. You need a sports book that offers all the action to make every game feel like the playoffs. Call today at 1-800-69-BET-US. That's 1-800-MY-BET-US, and they will get you set up faster than I can run the 40. Nobody in the industry gives bigger bonuses than BetUS. I play at BetUS, and so should you. Now is your turn. Join now. Call today at 1-800-69-BET-US. That's 1-800-MY-BET-US. My favorite sports book, BetUS.com.
Join now and get up to 200% in bonuses on your first deposit. Call 1-800-MY-BET-US.
Tell them Sapp sent you.
Homeowners, you hear the news every day. Rates go up and rates go down. While the economy struggles to recover, rising inflation rears its ugly head. Stop banging your head against a wall. Mortgage rates are again at all-time lows. That's right. Rates are at all-time lows. Put a bit of cash back in your pocket with a refi from True Mortgage. Get a 15-year fixed at just 1.75%, 2.140% APR. Even better, True Mortgage will cover your title, escrow, and appraisal fees. Qualification is fast and simple. Keep more of your hard-earned money and boost your savings. Lock in a lifetime of true value today with the lowest rates ever offered at 800-775-9353. That's 800-775-9353. 800-775-9353. Or visit TrueNow.com. Sign on the line. ATBA True Mortgage is located at 100 Spectrum Center Drive, Suite 520, Irvine, California 92618. Licensed by the Texas Department of Savings and Mortgage Lending as an SML Mortgage Banker. Equal housing lender. Terms and conditions apply. Based on a loan amount of $400,000. Monthly principal and interest payments. Primary residence only with a 50% loan to value. Not all applicants will qualify. NMLS number 60DBO44713.
Central Builders Incorporated is a family-owned, award-winning general contractor headquartered in San Antonio. Since 1989, CBI has completed over $1 billion in construction projects, including large-scale remodeling, expansions, and ground-up construction. The award-winning CBI has also been recognized by the San Antonio Business Journal as one of the best places to work for the past 4 years, and Central Builders is hiring. Learn more at centralbuilders.net. That's centralbuilders.net.
Rob Thompson, Carl Schoening. Halftime.
It's halftime. This is San Antonio Sports Star, ESPN AM 1250 and 94.5 FM. I saw Pledger was talking to somebody. We did get those missions tickets given away, right? All right. Congratulations to the winner of the fastest
Way to
fingers.
go, Gilbert.
Gilbert. Congratulations, man.
Congratulations.
Somebody pick me up on your way in. I'll be free. I'll make sure I'm available.
Missions have been playing really well lately, by the way. That's going to be a good time to run into them. They've been on a little bit of a tear. They went 7-5 on a 12-game road trip. Won last night, 3-1 over the Rockhounds.
Go out and have yourself a good time at the Wolf. Pretty evening. Drink a couple cold beers, watch some baseball. I'm in. Gilbert, I'll be ready when you are.
So we have some week 0 matchups because the college football world is cool where they're just going to have a little bit of taste of what you should expect for the unbelievable slates that they offer every Saturday. And we finally made it to week 0 where we have some interesting matchups that I enjoy.
Are they following your countdown? Week 0?
So, yeah, week 1 is officially next weekend.
No, officially it's this weekend because that's when they're playing the first games.
Yeah, but they want to get some early games in that aren't the full week slate of games.
Still week 1. I don't get the thought process begun. Well, we scheduled these games. That's week 1. These games, we're going to go week 0. It's week 1.
I just reported. I don't actually know.
I'm not. I just don't. They do this every year. Every year we have a week 0. When I grew up, you start counting at 1. 0 is a null account. There is nothing there, hence 0. So to tell me week 0, there's no such thing. It is not possible. So it's week 1, but moving on.
Full disclosure, other than Brett Bielema being the coach for Illinois, I don't know much about the Fighting Illini, but I do know that they are the week 1 opponent of your UTSA Roadrunners if you're listening here in San Antonio. It is in Illinois, so it's not like they're coming down here to the Dome. But if you want to get a chance to see what they look like, I can guarantee you there's going to be about 100 members of the UTSA football team watching this Saturday against Nebraska.
A little side note, Nebraska picked up a big signee from San Antonio. Quarterback out of Southside has signed with Nebraska to head up there. We're excited about that. Might be enough for me to root for Nebraska against the Fighting Illini and the Big Belimas. There's what you need to know about Illinois. They haven't been relevant for 30 years. Lovie Smith was not successful there. They haven't had a winning season, I think, in 10 years. So UTSA, congratulations. Go get your scouting report. Nebraska, this is a win they need. Scott Frost needs a win. It's been a rough couple of years for him. So get on national TV, get a win. I think it'll help the program.
Nebraska, on the other hand, if you're an Oklahoma fan, like our man Cisco, who works here in the office with us, they'll be playing Oklahoma September 18th. So there's a little bit of interest there. That's a rivalry that's coming back. That was a big deal back in the Big 12 days before Nebraska left.
It goes back to the Big 8, baby. For 50 years, it was Nebraska OU and Nebraska Oklahoma State, or Oklahoma State to decide the title. This is a huge change. It's been a long time since we've seen an OU Nebraska game. I'm excited about that. That's another opportunity for Scott Frost and those Nebraska Cornhuskers to make themselves relevant again. I think the football world is better when the Midwest is represented like Nebraska did under Osborne for those many years. I hope that they come out and prove themselves in a Big Ten opening game.
Hawaii is taking on UCLA, so that's a Pac-12 team hosting a Mountain West somehow. I guess if you're way west, you consider Hawaii mountains, but
West.
Yeah, hey, Mountain West is not a bad football conference. We don't talk about them all the time, but they got some good teams in there. But obviously, the Pac-12 getting their season started with UCLA going out there. That's a good opportunity for UCLA to get their season on a roll, as the Bruins will be facing off a week 2 matchup against LSU, or excuse me, week 1. I don't want to get ahead of myself. Game 2 for you.
See, it's
UCLA.
confusing, isn't it?
It is.
It doesn't make any sense. They're 1-0 or 0-1, and they're playing in week 1. Come on now, you're just screwing us up.
So who gets more of an advantage here? UCLA for maybe getting a preseason game in against Hawaii, or LSU for watching that game?
Chip Kelly is the one that benefits here. Chip Kelly needs to be on national TV as much as possible. Yes. Chip Kelly needs to have eyes on him. He is an offensive genius, a wizard, one would say, but he hasn't gotten the talent at UCLA to really be competitive. If the Pac-12 is about to expand the way that I think they are, this is a huge couple of days, a couple of weekends for UCLA to make themselves relevant as the Pac-12 tries to rebuild themselves in the image of the growth that is the SEC. I think the biggest beneficiary here could be Kelly and his ability to come in and recruit in the state of Texas into Louisiana if they win a couple of games. I think that this is important for this team. It's important for the conference that UCLA looks competitive when they have the opportunity to go on national TV.
We have a group of 5. As you know, there's the Power 5 conferences. You can name them, I'm sure. But the group of 5 conference games, those are your fun ones because they always like to see who's the best among them. And this one will be a UConn versus Fresno State matchup. That'll be another week 0 game.
Yeah, it's the battle of the have-nones. It's Power 4 now, I think. Although Bob Bowlesby in the Big 12 would like to still think it's 5. I think we're down to 4 1/4.
For this year, it's still Power 5. I don't know when the actual change will happen.
As soon as they can come up with bail money, Texas and OU get themselves out of jail and head to the SEC and the freedom that represents. UConn, a couple of years ago, when the Big 12 was looking to expand, when they were looking to grow their product, UConn was under great conversation. It was one of the schools that the Big 12 really liked because of the rooftops and the TV sets that you get in that market. You get UConn, you get the New York market. And that's a lot of TV sets. And it doesn't matter about the quality of football. It matters about who would be watching. UConn is in a unique situation, much like Cincinnati. So they're either going to be relegated forever to the group of 5, or in this expansion time, as we look at the SEC and what they've done, and we look at what the Big 12 is trying to do to save themselves, if UConn can put out a decent football product this year, they might get scouted and get the call up to the show, and UConn could land themselves in a redone Big 12 That could include Cincinnati as well, as their reach goes to the east instead of the west. I think this is a big weekend for them, a big year for them, because they could be one of the few schools that have been in the middling level now that could actually improve their lot in the football world. So watch UConn seeing what kind of product they're offering and what their investment would look like, because they might become a player on a regular basis, much like some of the other small schools that we've seen grow in the last couple of years.
You think U of H maybe gets that Big 12 offer finally?
And in fact, if I'm the U of H, I'm calling the Pac-12. I don't want to go to Big. I'm going to go to where I'm appreciated, and obviously the powers that were. You've come to me now. You come to me now after you got left by your girlfriend twice. If I'm Houston, I think that they could compete in the Pac-12. I think they could recruit the city of Houston and be competitive anywhere. It's another one of those schools that they've already got some notoriety, far more than UConn, but they could very much benefit themselves too.
So Pacific Coast and Third Coast meet is what you're saying could be a cool thing if Houston gets to go in with the Pac-12. We call it Third Coast.
If I'm Houston. The Pac-12, I'm calling Baylor, I'm calling Tech, I'm calling Kansas for the basketball, and I'm calling Houston. Let's add 4 teams.
We have an independent taking on a Conference USA team, UTEP versus New Mexico State.
Backyard battle.
Yeah, that's the cool thing is it's regional matchup right there. But man, it must be hard for New Mexico State to get a schedule every year. This is their schedule, by the way. UTEP, San Diego State, New Mexico, obviously. That's a missed opportunity if they don't have that. SC State, Hawaii, and that's not a trip to Hawaii. They're going to be hosting Hawaii. San Jose State. So, you can go ahead and it looks like they're looking at a lot of Mountain West schools where they probably should be. But for whatever reason, New Mexico State wants to be an independent, and that's the situation there. And UTEP, they were one of the worst teams in college football a couple of years ago. They've turned it around to be an all right team, and they're going to look for a bowl game this year.
And deservedly so. They're starting to pick what's the running back for Green Bay? Aaron came out of UTEP a couple of years back. They've recruited well, turned things around, but again, they're way out there.
Aaron Jones.
They're Aaron Jones. With his growth, UTEP's UTEP. I think that UTSA is about to pass them in the system, the Texas system of football quality.
I can see that.
Mm-hmm.
And that goes back to when we do have this whole conference realignment. I don't know if I need to reach out to some former governors or something along those lines, but we need to get the great state of Texas in one conference. UTEP needs to be in there, UTSA, all that conference realignment needs to happen there. Southern Utah is going to take on San Jose State in the final matchup we're talking about. The Spartans. Have you ever been to San Jose?
I have.
I was there actually for a Texas State-San Jose State women's basketball game. The 1 year that Texas State was in the WAC, it was cool. So, yeah, that wraps up week 0 scheduled, though. So if you want to watch real football, we're finally there. It's been a long time.
Week 0.
Week 0. Absolutely. Love it.
We made it. Football begins. No more Mondays without a real game to talk about.
Oh, that's going to be so awesome. We will talk about those games. I'll have to record maybe not all of them because I don't know if I have that much time this weekend.
If you're recording Southern Utah, you better be an alumni.
Yeah, but we're going to have to talk about that. San Jose State, when they were in the WAC, were a top 25 team, but that was 2012.
Yeah,
so
many years ago and great running back ago.
Yes, that's pretty much the case. Chris Mortensen has an update on Deshaun Watson and the Eagles situation. Our crack producer back there, Edwin and James Pledger, working on that sound, and we'll get it for you here on San Antonio Sports Star. This is halftime. Thanks for spending your midday break with us. ESPN AM 1250, 94.5 FM.
Who's ready to play some ball?
Friday nights under the lights. Don't miss the high school football game of the week. Powered by Hill Electric. This Friday on San Antonio Sports Star, ESPN 1250 and 94.5 FM. ESPN AM 1250 and 94.5 FM.
It was an up-and-down evening for the Texas MLB teams Wednesday night. The Texas Rangers dropped Game 2 in their series against Cleveland 7-2. Jake Latz got the loss in his first start for the Rangers and gave up 3 runs on 5 hits in 4 2/3 innings pitched. The Houston Astros claimed the rubber match against the Kansas City Royals in their 3-game series in Houston, winning yesterday afternoon's game 6-5 in 10 innings. Yordan Alvarez helped the cause for Houston, going 2 of 5 from the plate with a home run. And the San Antonio Missions defeat the Midland Rockhounds 3-1 on Military Appreciation Night last night. Those are your baseball headlines. For San Antonio Sports Star, I'm Carl Schoening.
I struggled with symptoms like frequent gas and stomach pain for years.
I was bloated all the time with daily diarrhea.
At first, I thought it was what I was eating.
I kept thinking it was stomach issues.
So I did my research and talked to my doctor, and we finally uncovered the truth.
It was actually EPI. Exocrine pancreatic insufficiency, or EPI, is a condition where your pancreas is unable to help break down your food.
It can lead to symptoms like diarrhea, gas, bloating, stomach pain, unexplained weight loss, and oily stools.
And EPI symptoms can be confused with those of other common digestive conditions, like irritable bowel syndrome, Crohn's, and celiac disease.
So getting to the right diagnosis meant being more open with my doctor about the severity of my symptoms and how often they were happening.
But there's good news. EPI is manageable, so don't wait any longer. Use the symptom checker at identifyepi.com and schedule a visit or call with your doctor to ask, could I have EPI?
Sponsored by AbbVie.
Fall is just around the corner. Lowe's has what you need to change with the season. Like our new lower prices on select bagged mulch starting at $2.88 per bag. And American Gourmet 3-burner gas grills was $149, now $129. Fall together with Lowe's this Labor Day, in-store and online. Lowe's, home to any budget, home to any possibility. While supplies last, selection and product availability varies by location. Valid 8/19 through 9/8, U.S. only. Mulch offer excludes Alaska and Hawaii.
Research shows that people remember radio ads with a booming voice that emphasizes all the main points. So to help you remember that Liberty Mutual Insurance Company customizes your home insurance so you only pay for what you need.
That part is super important.
Here's one with a booming voice.
I'm emphasizing everything.
Liberty Mutual customizes your home insurance.
Like a page with every word highlighted.
Only pay for what you need at libertymutual.com.
Liberty, 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 liberty.
Liberty, 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 liberty.
Oh, according to research, 82% of people remember radio ads. That means that 82% of you listening right now will remember that this is an ad for ZipRecruiter. If you're hiring, 82% of you will recall that ZipRecruiter makes hiring faster and easier. And 82% of you will note that you can try ZipRecruiter for free today. But you have to go to ZipRecruiter.com/radio, like where this ad plays. 82% of you will keep in mind that ZipRecruiter's technology finds qualified people for your job and actively invites them to apply.
Scott, is that you? Who are you talking to?
82% of you will also know that I live with my mom. But the most important thing to note is that ZipRecruiter works. In fact, 4 out of 5 employers who post on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. Will you be part of the 82% who remember where you can try ZipRecruiter for free? It's ZipRecruiter.com/radio. Again, that exclusive link is ZipRecruiter.com/radio. Yes, radio. That's ZipRecruiter.com/radio.
El Wedo's Automotive Paint provides quality coatings and selection of paint supplies for your automotive finishing needs. El Wedo can match any color for that specific work you're doing. And if you own a car painting or body shop business, you have to compare prices with El Wedo's paint supply to start saving today. Come check us out at El Wedo's Automotive Paint for quality coatings and a great selection of auto painting needs. Located at 3108 West Avenue. Call us at 210-749-3116. 210-749-3116. Check us out on Facebook or Google at El Wedo's Automotive Paint.
Not all pizza places are the same. Mellow Mushroom originated hand-tossed, stone-baked classic Southern pizza. Not in the mood for pizza? Order a calzone, hoagie, sandwich, burger, or a mellow salad and see how care goes into every item on the menu. Take your pick from 24 draft beers and or handcrafted cocktails. And many of the pizzas can be made gluten-free or vegan. Mellow Mushroom is at 1604 in Stone Oak Parkway. Hang with friends, watch the game, and mellow out at Mellow Mushroom.
If you get arrested, get out of jail fast by calling AA Best Bail Bonds, 210-225-2121. Text bail to 474747 or online at mybestbailbonds.com. You don't have to call attorneys or anybody else. Don't be forced into a PR bond. If the jail offers you one, make sure you understand the conditions before accepting it. AA Best Bail Bonds. Nobody beats their price. They have payment plans. Call 210-225-2121 or mybestbailbonds.com.
License number 149.
Texas Rangers baseball.
Leo 1. Joey looks to bunt toward third. Nobody there. Base hit, Joey Gallo.
Texas Rangers baseball happens here. San Antonio Sports Star, ESPN, AM 1250 and 94.5 FM.
This is Greeny on San Antonio Sports Star, ESPN, AM 1250 and 94.5 FM.
Halftime. Almost at full time here on San Antonio Sports Star, ESPN AM 1250, 94.5 FM. I'm Carl Schoening. He's Rob Thompson. And hey, keep it tuned in here to San Antonio Sports Star at 5:30 on the Blitz. We will be giving away Dallas Cowboys tickets. And that's a good time. If you've ever been to AT&T Stadium, it's a good time to catch the Cowboys.
We're your home for the Dallas Cowboys. We got Cowboys tickets for the rest of the year. You want to go ahead, if you're not going to be available for the first home game. Well, these are some extra Pallone tickets. We'll just say they fell off the truck. That they just kind of showed up. I'm not going to tell you how we got them, but we got them. And it was an arm wrestle with some of the sales staff just to have it available to you. They were going to give it to clients. Now we give it to our listeners. If you want to win Dallas Cowboy tickets, this is the place to go. Go to sasportstar.com right now. You'll go to the website. You'll see where you can get yourself signed up for the giveaway. We're giving away home game tickets all season long because we are your home for the Dallas Cowboys.
So Chris Mortensen was on Greeny's fill-in host earlier, and I didn't get to catch all this, but our crack producer, James Pledger, did. And he went ahead and gave us a little bit of a recording on that. I want to hear this for the first time myself because Pledger said it was worth talking about, and we always love talking to Deshaun Watson to the Eagles potentially. Let's go ahead and play that sound.
I'm going to go, well, Deshaun Watson, that's getting to play, but it's kind of gone quiet, right?
Right.
Because we really don't know. We don't know what's going on with the league investigation. We're not sure what type of criminal investigation this is. Are these criminal complaints? Is there a grand jury? Was FBI involvement? Is it because there was an extortion complaint? That's a lot of mystery. And at the same time, there's just a team like the Philadelphia Eagles that you still hear, some rumors about that they could have some interest in him as well. So I think that's the one story that you can go to sleep on, but you got to be alert in case something happens because all of a sudden he's getting physically active in practice. He's not practicing like the quarterback. He's going to be the quarterback of that team, but you see him getting more physically active behind the scenes.
The only thing that I really take away from that's news is that Deshaun Watson's getting physically active behind the scenes, and I kind of accused him of potentially being out of shape because we haven't had an opportunity to see him in preseason games so far this year. Nothing new there, but it is good news that he is staying physically active because if he were just chilling on the couch eating potatoes, his trade value would go way down. Maybe he'd steal one of those James Harden fat suits.
He is one of the top 18 players in the NFL, according to the NFL Network.
The NFL players voted on that, yes. So they know what's up.
He's one of the top 5 quarterbacks, I would say, at his best. He is electric. He is dynamite, whether he's 25 pounds overweight. I don't care. I will say this. The date that we need to have circled for Deshaun Watson is August the 31st, 5 days from now, at 4 o'clock Eastern time, 3 o'clock San Antonio. The cut down list must be complete. The NBA rosters need to be submitted to the NFL rosters need to be submitted with those 53 men. I expect at some point on August the 31st, prior to 3 o'clock, Roger Goodell is going to have to put him on the commissioner's exempt list. If he doesn't, a trade is imminent.
Is that the deadline for Roger Goodell to do something?
Well, it's not a deadline. He could be put on that exempt list at any point. But as we're getting to the roster formation page where you're cutting guys down and you're making decisions about your season and also trying to find guys on your practice squad and perusing everybody's cut lists, this is the time when you have to allow the Houston Texans a little bit of room to breathe. You're just gonna have to make that decision. And if they don't, if the Texans cannot prevail on Goodell and his NFL security team to do this, that tells me that they have told him, don't put him on the exempt list. We got a deal working. But if he goes exempt, we won't see him this year, and we might not see anything happen until the legal side of this, the adjudication part of this, is complete.
And that's where John Clayton came in with a report not too long ago, sometime last week, that said he might not play until the 2023 season, or he could be playing week 1 for somebody. And I don't know if the NFL is a league where you can just throw somebody in. Hey, we traded for you yesterday. You're going to be starting for us tomorrow kind of league.
No, it's not.
But if it's Deshaun Watson versus Jalen Hurts, maybe you give Hurts 1 game and let Deshaun Watson acclimate himself for a week. It's going to look like maybe at some point Deshaun Watson will be on some other team. We just don't know when, how, or if it's even going to happen in the immediate future. We're going to keep an eye on that.
Keep in mind real quick as we end with Deshaun Watson. Again, we're giving away Dallas Cowboy tickets, 5:30, The Blitz. It'll be hosted with a special edition. Rudy J and Michael Jimenez and Quinn Hutz. It'll be there. Be there at 5:30. Deshaun Watson, if you trade for him, you get him for years. You're not in any rush to start him this year. You get him for years.
That's true, and that's something worth noting as well. And if you're going to give up your future to get him, you don't need to worry about week 1. Well, I've been Carl Schoening. He's been Rob Thompson. James Pledger's been producing with Edwin back there. This has been Halftime on San Antonio Sports Star, ESPN AM 1250 and 94.5 FM. Y'all enjoy the rest of your days.
It's that time. Buses, school zone, study hall, and the classroom. It's back to school. And to make it special, you have the chance to win $1,000 in San Antonio Sports Stars back to school giveaway. $500 for you and $500 to donate to your school. Register now at